How's it going, people? Hope you're all well. Welcome back to the show. Lead judges, it was a beautiful weekend yet again, my good man. And we have
Oh, I
some
love it. I love it.
guests
I love it.
joining us very, very soon. And one of them is now backstage. It is Super Kev Gabo.
Hey.
How are you doing, Dan? How you doing, Lee?
Woo!
Hey, we got to stop the celebrating because we played nobody yet, guys. Come on.
When are we going to have a big team to play? When can we celebrate? When are we going to get a big team to play? Do you know what I'm saying? Absolutely big up to yourself, Kev. Thanks so much for coming on. And of course, we have our beautiful Sophie join us as well. Soph, what you saying?
Whee!
How's it going, guys?
Oh,
Yeah, man. Listen. It's all good. I had to wear this t-shirt today, of course. But listen, it's absolutely beautiful weekend. Superb weekend last weekend. Can't forget that one too soon. But this weekend was absolutely brilliant. Judges, I'm gonna come to you first, man. I don't think there's anywhere else to start other than what we're seeing at the moment in terms of the fan base. Now, a
right.
lot of people text me saying, "Oh, come on, need to hear you. It's gone a bit dead." And I agreed in the first half because I think between 15 and 45, Liverpool looked like they could cause us some problems and it deflated us a little bit. But second half, mate, I'm sorry, but we've got the best fans in the world at the moment. It is unbelievable what I'm seeing at the Emirates. It is a different place. It really is,
It's
man.
it's rocking, and I'll tell you what, it's lovely when you hear them on Sky Sports saying that today. I mean, I was watching a bit of that before we come on, and they were saying the Emirates is a different place. Jamie Carragher was saying it. It is absolutely fantastic. And listen, I got held up by the Bleak Ashburton crew. They was blocked all the tunnels and all things to get through with the smoke and all that, doing their songs. It was fantastic. It's an absolute party atmosphere at the Emirates at the moment. But one thing I've got to say, uh, listen, you cannot beating Spurs. That was a fantastic result last week and everything like that. But this one was more of a statement win. It was like this was a proper team. A proper team come down. It was a. I actually, not gonna lie. I come off. Come off. I walked out of that stadium exhausted, absolutely exhausted by watching an absolute fantastic game of football. And do you know what? In the last few years gone past, I've been watching these games on telly and like being jealous of we weren't involved in it. But this game was like it had everything. It was two giants going at each other again, and it's Arsenal being involved. And do you know what? We could have lost that game, but we didn't. We come out on top. But it was I was exhausted after that game. It was a fantastic game of football. Some of those performances from those kids was fantastic. Like that. And I'm going to say this. I've got to say this. I mentioned it on Saturday, Sunday. Arsenal fans been not criticising, bigging up Foden, Betten and Saka. Also saying that players from down the road are better than Saka. Give this man, our star boy, a bit of respect because he was brilliant on Sunday, and I love him. And he's 21 years of age, and I think he's our star boy. You know what I mean? I know Martinelli's up there, but he's been signed from Howland. He's one of our own. You know what I mean? And I love him, and for that. I've got a soft spot for him as well. I love Martinelli. He's my favourite. Everybody knows that. But Saka yesterday, oh my God, I could kiss his left foot and his right foot, and I might even kiss his bum. He was fantastic on the day, and I love him.
Listen, that's a different show, Lee. You know what I'm saying? That's a
Sorry,
different show. Let's get into that.
Now.
It's after 10 p.m. that comes in. Do you know what I'm saying? But listen, KC, let me come to you, man, because Lee made some great points there. These players, I think a lot of our Arsenal fans are in love with them. And the manager deserves credit for that. The players themselves obviously deserve credit for that. And I think sometimes we need to big ourselves up a bit because the fan base has been terrific home and away for the last 24 months, in my opinion. Since we've been coming back from COVID, we've had an unbelievable amount of team spirit, an unbelievable amount of spirit in general. And I think absolute fire home and away. Our away team our away fans has always been immense, right? Always has been. At home, I get why in the last 10 years some people say Highbury Library, Emirates is silent. I get that because I've been there for the last 16 years. And sometimes it was. Can't say that anymore, mate. It's been absolutely terrific. And when I look at the players in the tunnel, Kev, It weren't long ago I was going, oh, he's in today. I hope he don't make up. Oh, this one. Oh, what we playing him for? Oh, I don't want Bella in there. Oh, Christ, Mustafi. Now, I ain't doing that with any of them. And I can't remember the last time that's happened. And I think the connect now between what we're seeing on the pitch and what we're watching in the stands is pretty much telepathic. And I think this regime deserve a lot of credit for that, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dan. Look, as far as I'm concerned, when you're talking about people in the team, Tommy Arsenal coming in was a masterstroke.
Yeah.
Many people, when they saw the team and they saw Tommy Arsenal down, they were like, is he going to be playing left back?
I did.
You know, you're going to question it. What this actually says now is we have got a flexible squad and the manager can pick players depending on who the opposition are, and we still can perform. Because, do you know what? The fans are like that because the team are performing on the pitch. That's why the fans are like that. And, you know, away from home, the fans have always been together. But at the Emirates, it's always been, okay, what have you got? Now the team are responding. The team are playing. The team are... Let me just say this. That Liverpool side, that wasn't the Liverpool side that lost 3 goals against Brighton or, you know, drew against Fulham, etc. That was a top Liverpool side who performed yesterday. And you talk about from 15 minutes to 45, that's Liverpool taking us so serious that they turn up. Not that we're just going to roll over. They turned up yesterday. But again, the fans, the players, going in 2-1 at half time really made the difference for us. And you know what? I've got to big up Jesus in the midfield because he seemed to be everywhere. Yeah. Set us on, give it to Martinelli, and Martinelli done the business. But here's a question for Sophie knows the answer to this. Lee, Dan, who was the centre forward when Martinelli got released by Jesus? Who was the centre forward?
Granit Xhaka.
No, it was Gabriel.
That's right.
Yeah,
it was.
Through, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Gabriel.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you, this is a really is a team effort. Yeah. And if he doesn't occupy the defender probably clears it. So the ball goes across and Saka puts it in 2-1. So listen, again, we could nitpick and we could say this, we could have done things right. We're learning. We're learning as a team. But you know what, everyone? It feels so good to see this Arsenal team go toe-to-toe with a Liverpool team who started to get chipper because you know what? If we're going to be challenging, we're going to have to take somebody down. And they didn't like it. But you know what? We come out on top. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant, man. And Soph, I want to come to you on that team news because me and Lee were in the studio before it and it came out as announced. Wasn't any shocks for me apart from that one. And I'm like, what's happening here? Now, the reason I was a bit confused was 2 things. One, I love Kieran Tierney, man. I can't help being biased. I love him, right? He's my favourite player. And I don't know why seems to now everyone's brushed him aside and he's no good anymore. Zinchenko's in town. We don't need Tierney. Let's sell him. Don't get it for me. Love the player. Want to keep him. Think he's wicked. So I was a bit disappointed not to see him after an unbelievable performance on Thursday night. I don't care if it was against Bodo and Glimt. He was man of the match, right? Head and shoulders. And he's professional. Love him. Now, a lot of people think, oh, Dan, don't rate Tomiyasu. BS. Absolute BS. Love the kid, right? Love him. But he was a right back the last time I checked. Now, I see him at left back. That means that Tierney is now behind Zinchenko and Tomiyasu. So I'm not happy, right? And I'm kicking off and I'm going nuts, going, nah, my favourite player's third choice left back. What's going on? Turns out it worked out well. I said to Lee, it had to be a bloody masterstroke because I'd have had him for breakfast if it didn't work out. Trust me. And it did, man. He was absolutely epic. He was absolutely epic for me. And so I think when you keep Salah quiet, you've got to be a half-decent defender. And that right-hand side, you know, I looked a little bit on Jamie Carragher tonight and he broke it down magnificently, actually, in relation to how we were keeping them over the other side and keeping them away. It was really, really clever the way that we did that. And for me, it's the tactical one. I want to ask you a question, though, Soph, right? If Zinchenko's fit, does Tomiyasu still play or does Zinchenko play for you?
Because of what Zinchenko offers creatively and how he plays that inverted role, I think it's going to be Zinchenko. But like Kev said, now we have options depending on who the opponent actually is, right? And we were just talking on our show previously, because Tommy does play on that left side for Japan. So, and he's played left back, had to deputize for us there last season when Kieran Tierney was injured and we didn't have any other options. The beauty about Arsenal is that we've gone from trying to fit square pegs in round holes, i.e., playing Xhaka at left back against Brighton and leaving Sambi in no man's land in midfield, to having versatile players who actually have the talent to be able to play in various positions. That is Benjamin White at right back, can also play at centre back, also has operated in a DM role for Brighton. You've got Tomiyasu, you have Zinchenko, you have different players able to do different things, but actually be good at doing those different things, not doing them the way Callum Chambers maybe did or Maitland-Niles did. So I think that that's the kind of beauty going forward. If we get injuries, we have some answers. The World Cup coming in between. Tommy's going to be playing in the World Cup. We have, we don't know if Benjamin's going to be on the plane yet, but Gareth Southgate will be insane if he's not. The season is long. We're still only in October. So the beauty for me is not only did he come in and he nullified one of the best players in the world, who's been lauded by many over and over. He's such a suffocating player, Tomiyasu. He doesn't give you anything. And the protection that he gets too, and the way that we play as a team in units is so impressive. Dan, I think we talked about that when we were on the show the last time, about how everyone is in their unit and is really disciplined. So that's the thing I love. Also, just to kind of go riff off what Kev said, if we had lost, everyone would have been like, well, Arsenal had their strongest starting 11 barring one player. Now, Liverpool had Núñez, Diaz, Jota, Salah, Thiago, Henderson, Van Dijk, Matip, Alexander-Arnold, and Alisson. I'm sorry. It's not our fault you're in bad form, because no one had empathy for us when we were in bad form and we were getting battered. You had almost your best team playing for you and you got beaten by a better team. Don't make excuses with penalties and VAR. We've all suffered from that this season. They had a really good team, and in the second half, we absolutely dominated them. Scary moments in the first half, but in that second half, we deserved to win. We were the better side. And Tomiyasu, the Tominator, had a lot to do with that.
I love that.
Tominator, love it. Yeah, man, I think he's been wicked, Tomiyasu. I think bar his injury, I think he was probably one of the most consistent performers last year. He's come in and been fantastic. I saw him at left back on Thursday night and I thought, that's weird. He's come in and he slotted him fine, by the way, in the last 20 minutes of the game. Obviously, Arteta was testing him out there because he knew what he was going to do. But Lee, I know Liverpool, right? In the last 4 years, you know Liverpool, Kev knows Liverpool, Soph knows Liverpool. Their attacking threats normally come via Robertson and Mane and Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. For me, we were the Liverpool, because Martinelli, Saka, Tomiyasu and Ben White, in my opinion, were four of the best players on the pitch. Absolutely superb. And I want to mention both of our fullbacks before I come forward, because I feel personally like you can't really seem to talk about or at least praise or credit Ben White. This guy has been ridiculously good, man. Like ridiculously good as a right back. Now, as a centre back, I think I'm looking at him going, don't you dare come back inside, man. You stick over there because you're playing good. Just stay where you are. You are so good there. Like, for me, the overlapping stuff, I want to see more of it. It's causing absolute havoc down that right-hand side when he overlaps with Saka. I want to see more of that. I think it looks superb. I'm loving his defending. I love his distribution on the ball. I love the fact that he's got a little bit of shithousery about him. I kind of like everything about this player, man. Talk to me about Ben Whiteley and why you don't think he really gets some of the credit that I believe he deserves, man.
Listen, he's getting the credit from the manager, and that's the most important thing. Like, you know, he rates him, spent the money on him. Listen, I don't see how he don't get in the England squad, because I tell you what, when he's playing, no one turns around and says, "Oh, he can't defend our Ben White, can he?" Because he can. And what I think has been a real big disappointment for him is like, and I've said this before in interviews and everything like that, Chris, wait until Zaha gets hold of him. Like, well, we had Zaha. didn't get nothing. Oh, wait till Song has him, like, you know what I mean? Didn't get nothing, like, you know. Jota, by the way, who's played, and Diaz, who played out there this time, been banging in goals. Jota scores against us for fun. Didn't get a kick. You know what I mean? See off Diaz in the end. I'll tell you what, he didn't fancy it. I wouldn't be surprised if Diaz is playing on in the Champions League game. Like, he didn't fancy it. He you know, he's a tough cookie, like, you know. And I can tell that going forward, he's getting better and better, confident and everything like that. Listen, you know, shame on Gareth Southgate. If I'll be honest, you know, I think that at the end of the day, I don't really care about Liverpool players. He's ruined Trent, because he's the one that highlighted his poor defending. There, everybody goes on it. As soon as he has as soon as something happens, it's all blame on Trent's defending. You know, and with Ben White, you know, I think now with Walker looking like he's going to be out of it, he should come in. Like, you know, he's done nothing wrong to be left out of the England squad. Nothing wrong. And he's been left out of the England squad. And there's about 4 or 5 players that can't do anything right, and they've been put in that England squad. So, you know, for me, let him stay at home, get him off to Dubai, work on his suntan, and then be ready for the January for when we come back. Like, because I love him, I've always liked him. I think he's a top player, getting better and better, and we are defending, you know, a lot better. Also, going into that, he can play, as you said, he can play in different positions, which is what you need. And I'll tell you what. Kieran Tierney, by the way, may not be finished at this football club, even that, because I think he could play as a central defender in a 2 or a 3 as a left-sided defender. He can defend as well. You know, I don't think he's all. If you can make Ben White a good right back, you can make someone like Tierney somewhere better in some other position. I think that's credit to the coaching staff and everything like that. And that's the great thing about every one of those back players. They can play in different. I think if you played Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White, you could play a back 3. They're comfortable. They're comfortable all around. If you have a look at the midfield, the wide players, you know, I one game there, Jesus is popping up because Kevin said he's playing midfield 1 minute, then the next minute he's playing on the left, next thing he's on the right. Martinelli can interchange, Xhaka can certainly interchange. They've all got different positions that they can play and all that. Like, and I think one of the greatest things I just said on another show, if Arsenal had to change a different formation, I think we can genuinely do it. To the with the players we've got, we wouldn't have to take a player off to bring another player in. I think we can just go, well, you can go there and you can go there and it'd be all right, like, you know. So we'll wait and see, like. But listen, Ben White, fantastic. I thought he was virtually close to man of the match because he defended really well, and then he really helped. That has been a little bit of a problem, I think, just slightly, and I think this is a good thing that I noticed. I think that Saka's been 2-on-2 too much this tour, 2 against 1 too much this season. But with Ben White making those runs there, it just gives Saka a little bit more space to do his stuff. And he done it. You know what I mean? So, you know, so like credit to everything there. And the Tomiyasu thing, I know, like, listen, I didn't lose it like Dan, you know what I mean? Like Dan weren't happy what he stormed off, guys. You know what I mean? Like he gone off on the Alp, like, you know what I mean? Like onto the Emirates. It's the quickest walk to the Emirates, I think. He's got it in record time. Listen, it was a masterstroke, wasn't it? It was an absolute masterstroke, like, you know, it was a fantastic decision. And I'll tell you what, also it reminds me, I'll tell you what, Tomiyasu, by the way, he's a bloody good defender. You know what I mean?
He's a rash.
He's a rash, isn't he? In a nice way. He's a nice
nice
rash. You know what I mean? Like Martin Keown sort of rash. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
he is a nice rash, man.
You can't get rid of it. Like, you know what I mean? So, but what, you know, and I've got to just say one thing. Can I please say this? I've said it on my interview. I'm going to say it again. And this is what really winds me up about the media and everything like that, right? When Ozil was on a big contract, every week, he's on a contract, 350 grand, he's got to do it. Same with Aubameyang. Look at every time Aubameyang had a bang, go 350 grand. Nothing being said about a certain player at Liverpool that's on a big contract and has done absolutely nothing since he got that contract, by the way. But I don't hear everybody going, he's on this and all that, like, and he's down tools and all that, like, you know. I don't know what it is, why they do not like the Arsenal. I don't know why, but I'm loving it, like, because Arsenal are back, guys. We are back.
Mate, keep it going, man. Keep it going. I absolutely love it. The fact that people are starting to give us a load of stick when we're winning, man. I'm
Go on,
absolutely
Stove.
loving it. Let's keep it going. Do you know what I'm saying?
Blind
Oh,
is
she's got it out.
the
What's
sun
happening?
was coming through, but seeing as I have it,
Oh,
Blimey.
that-
Samurai
Absolutely.
Stove.
Has to be done, man.
nice
Has
to
to be
have some
done.
sun.
Listen, KC, man. Liverpool are salty. They're crying. Oh, VAR refs. They sound worse than Arsenal fans half the time. I tell you, we get enough stick for saying that. For me, I don't care what anyone says. Scoreline or no scoreline. That made you win. That made you lose. That would have made you draw. I don't give a damn about that, man. The performance was there. I don't think Liverpool can sit there and say that any of the goals that we scored was out of order or outrageous. Any of the decisions was shocking. The only one I said that potentially the ref got wrong against us was Gabriel's handball. Yeah, I've seen them given. Everything else, the penalty was a penalty for me. He's kicked Gabriel Jesus' foot. You can't tell me
Yeah.
that he's won the ball, so it's a penalty. Yeah. And the other
Yeah.
stuff they're talking about offsides and God knows. The only player I saw that was close to offside was Nunez for their goal. So they can't
And he
sit there
was
coming and.
He
I
was
thought he
offside,
was.
but
I thought he
he
was.
was offside, but he wasn't the one going for the ball. So, he then gets himself into the box and scores. But listen, Dan, I'll be honest with you. I do not care
100.
what
Neither
Klopp
do I.
or the Liverpool fans want to say about this. This is our day. We took them on man for man on the day, and we were the better team. They don't ever say that though, do they? They won't tell you we were the better team. We were the better team, and we deserve to win that game, regardless of whether you talk about a decision went their way, our way. It all evens itself out.
And
The
do you know
fact
what's
of the
funny,
matter
Casey?
is-
Do you know what's funny?
Go on.
Like, I don't ever hear him moaning about Tierney getting elbowed by Mane last year, a straight red. I don't hear the one that Eddie had on his chest here when he was kicked, and the one that on Alexander Arnold's ankle last year. But the minute we do it, let's cry to the ref and say that Arsenal deserve and Arteta's this and Arsenal fans are that. Like, I'm done with these. I can't stand Liverpool fans, man. They're the saltiest fans. Honestly,
Dan,
man.
let me tell you. Go on, Lee, go
I
on.
will say, like, a good friend of ours, you know what I mean? Like, Red Nose,
Nose.
he was very gracious. He was very gracious in defeat, like, you know what I mean? And said that we
Let's hope that
deserve
all of them
it.
were. I wish all of them were
But they're
like
not.
that,
They're
man.
not all like John, are they, Kev? They're not all like
No,
John.
they're not. They're not. And to be honest with you, Red Nose John did say he was worried about this Arsenal
He
side
did.
because he's always said he rates Arteta, and given a little bit of time, Arteta's going to get it right. Now, his worst fears are coming true because this young side, and we are young, we're only going to get better.
Yeah.
And you know what? Everyone said, can you sustain it? Can you do this? Can you do that? This team's only been together 9 league games. That's all, 9. So realistically, we should get better as the season goes on. So listen, it's going to be, it should be an exciting time for us at Arsenal.
the bitterness is real because TalkSport Drive, right? And we do stuff on TalkSport and stuff like that. Kev gives, I love how he gives it to the O'Haras and the Cundys
100.
of the world and stuff like that. It's just brilliant.
I could do it
On Drive, right? And I was just waiting for Darren Bent because I feel for him sometimes just to be able to have that Arsenal moment, right? And they start the show with Newcastle as the story, the first top story on Drive. I mean, it just shows you, right, that how many people just don't want to see.
They hate it. They hate it. It's brilliant.
They're hating it, and they're waiting for us to just. Now the line is, let's see how you do, like, the last half of the season, because everyone's just expecting, everything to go terribly wrong. But I just thought it was hilarious. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that they started off with Newcastle as the top story.
On like the Monday night football, I thought, I'll get there for 7 o'clock because their first game on is going to be talking about Arsenal and Liverpool.
Talk about Bruno Guimaraes.
No, they're talking about Guimaraes, yeah, they've done that. And then it was about 20 minutes in before they started talking about you know what I mean?
I had it today, man. I had it today. I was on Matisse channel on London's Club Carnage, right? And I said, he said, right, we might as well start with Arsenal. Liverpool weren't very good and VAR was rubbish. The ref was awful, weren't it, Dan? And I thought, hang on a minute, I'm not having this. Hang on a minute, I'm not having this. Is this the reason Arsenal won the game? Because VAR was awful. The ref gave it to us and Liverpool were terrible. I have it, I thought that Liverpool were not terrible whatsoever. I thought they played some nice football. I thought Thiago
really
looked
impressive.
superb at parts in the midfield. And I thought that they were dangerous. I can't sit there and say that it was way as well played Wycombe Wanderers. They were shocking and VAR helped us. I ain't having that. So I'll give it back to them. They didn't like that, obviously, because they don't like to admit that Arsenal were doing well. It seems that you can't give Arsenal their flowers at the moment, whatever they're doing. And long may it continue, mate.
We punched them in the mouth after 58 seconds. Right?
Yes.
Wasn't even an uppercut and a left hook. We just punched them, boom, right in the gob, 58 seconds. And did they recover? Yes. But the difference is this Arsenal overcomes adversity. And that is something we have not seen in we saw it in spurts last season, but this season we go goal down, boom, we score. Saliba scores an own goal, boom, we go score. You know, we score before half time. Really good teams do that, don't they? I mean, I was like, please just get a goal before half time because it will be a totally different second half. Please, please, please. I was literally begging anyone who would hear me. And we get that goal. We get the goal, and that's the difference, Dan, I think, as well. These little things, these little signs that make for really good teams, that started happening at the club, and the players and the manager deserve credit for that.
The greatest thing about it, the greatest thing about it also is we've been up there, we've watched Liverpool games over the last sort of 4, 5, 6 games. When we've been on the back foot, we've had to sit in and just try. I hope that we can nick it on the break and all that. What was good about it yesterday was that we went toe to toe and we was a team in front. And in the end of the game, you know, and I'm a big Klopp fan, he's bringing on defenders to nullify, to stop us. You know what I mean? Like poetry, emotion. That was like.
Well, that's both of them now. Antonio Conte and Klopp have done the same thing.
Yeah, they've done the same. Yeah, Klopp, Klopp, old Conte. Yeah, your lover boy. Yeah, he's done that and all. Like,
listen,
you know what I mean?
It's Ancelotti's. He's top lover boy.
Yeah,
Ancelotti
is. Yeah. Don Carlo.
Oh, it's Ancelotti now, is it? Like,
always has. Always was. I like Conte as well, but mate, I like elite managers with a CV that everyone would be jealous of, mate. And those two are that. But listen, let's hope Arteta can get there. Let's hope Arteta can win half of what they've won. I'll take that. I'll tell you that now. Listen, so if I stick with you just for a sec, because I wanted to talk to you about a player that you and I love, Lee's favourite player, and I know he's a player that Kev likes, Gabriel Martinelli, mate. I'm a fan, and I remember losing my head this time last year with you and with Lee. Why is he not playing? Get him on the pitch. This is why I wanted to see this kid, man. I absolutely love him. Right? Every time he gets the ball, he excites me the most. Yeah, I love Saka. I love most of the players at the moment in that first 11. Love Jesus. When I look at Martinelli, I know something's going to happen. He's going to drive at the players. He's going to take them on. He's not scared. He's fearless. He's got so much about him that can make him go to the very, 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 very top in terms of world-class talent, in my opinion. Klopp's already come out and admired him. Lots of the players are. Jamie Carragher said today you're looking at a world-class player potentially. And I am so glad that we're seeing him get the praise that he was when he first come on the scene, because it looks like he is back. And for me, I think has been one of our best players this season. And what a performance, Sophie, yesterday.
His ceiling is so high. And remind me, guys, did we pay 6 or 8 million for him? Was it 6 or 8?
6,
Either
I think.
one.
6, I think it's 6.
$6 million boys.
Okay. Talk about ROI. What a return on investment thus far. And what is his market value now? We don't want that. We don't want to find that out. Finally, I think we do have good players that will keep, hopefully, fingers crossed, we qualify for Champions League and we keep moving this machine forward. He is so much fun to watch. I don't remember a player since when Alexis Sanchez came in, he excited me. He was the type of player that got you off your feet or on your feet. And when he got the ball, you were like, you thought anything was possible. Martinelli has that trait about him. And I think one of the things that he's learning this season, I was saying to Kev, that, you know, I want him to look up more. I want him to be able to really, you know, trust his judgment when to release the ball. Don't feel like you've got to hog the ball and be the hero. A little bit like Saka had to be the hero. He now has a supporting cast And in Jesus, I think now he has found that wingman. So we're seeing a smarter Martinelli. Why? Because he's playing with a forward who's actually smarter positionally, moves quickly. It's unbelievable when you surround really good players with other really good players, what can happen. And I think we're seeing that maturation of Martinelli because of everyone who's around him. It gives him the ability to do the things that we know he's capable of doing. I love watching the way we're playing. Now, look, I think if you have a certain style of play, that's good for you. But let's be honest, the first year and a half under Arteta, maybe 2, was dull. The football was kind of dull. There were moments where we played really well, but we always said, like, what is this guy going to be like when he has a team that he can build in his image? And now I think we're seeing that team and we're seeing how he wants to play. You can win the title playing very defensive football. What I love about what we're doing is we're mixing both. We're playing very sexy football, but we're also playing smart football at the back. And I think that also allows players like Martinelli and Saka to shine because they have this stability now in midfield. They have this protection on the flanks. And I just think it's amazing that we have a front three. I don't know who's going to score more goals this season. I couldn't tell you out of the 3 of them, but I do know that Martinelli going forward has the ability to kind of just be whoever he wants to be. He's so talented. And, just to wrap it up, I love that scene in All or Nothing where Edu is talking to one of the coaches. I think is it Steve Round? Maybe. And they're talking about how much they love the fire in his belly, his personality. Those are the parts of the documentary that I actually enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
And to hear that insight into, and the way Edu was talking about him, and then he says he's a top boy. That's the other thing too, Dan. They're really good boys. They're not going out under the bright lights of London and getting smashed and in the papers on the front pages instead of the back pages. We want them on the back pages. And I think that the sky's the limit for him, for Saka, and for the young players at the Arsenal if they carry on like this.
It's all about the players, Kevin. It's all about the players.
It's always been
Making
about
a
the players.
t-shirt.
Once they
T-shirts
cross,
coming.
Yeah, we're getting a t-shirt that because he's been proved right. You know what I mean? Kevin took
It's
a lot
all
of stick
about-
about it, but
it's all about the players. Once they cross that white line, it's all about the
That's
players.
it,
There you go, Dan. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dan, real
man.
quick. I got a text.
Go on,
We had
Sol.
Stevie
Go on.
we had Stevie Nicol on the show last week. And
Yes.
do you know what he said? He goes, so if
Go
you
on.
can ask me whatever you want. He goes, I'm telling you right now, there's only 2 things that scare me. Saka and Martinelli. He goes, if we can't
Wow.
handle those 2, we're finished. And he sent me a text today and he said, I told you. And he was right.
Yeah.
And when you have legends like, you can say what you want about Stephen Nicol on ESPN FC. I know some of you love him, some of you don't. But when
No,
you've got
brilliant.
a legend like that who played for Liverpool saying that about our young players, and he's been on with Kev too, and they've gone at it on that front, that's a massive compliment. Massive.
Listen, a huge compliment, mate. Absolutely huge compliment from, let's be honest, a legend himself. But KC, I've got to ask you this question, right? Because I spoke about it earlier. In the Emirates era, we've had some unbelievable players, right? We've had some great players. For me, they won't go down in history as the legends so much as the ones that did the Invincibles and God knows what and doubles and Christ knows what. But when I look at it, we have had Hleb, Rosicky and Van Persie as a front three. We've had Walcott, we've had Sanchez, we've had Giroud, we've had some fantastic players. Nothing has excited me as much as this 3 because we've always had 2 that look good and the other one is a bit part or comes on or whatever it be. There's always been a kind of a Podolski or a Javinho or a Walker. They're always like, you think they're decent, but it doesn't really excite me as much as it does these 3 right now. So I want to ask you how good these 3 are right now, in your opinion, and a bit of a strange one for you. Would you have loved to have played with Saka and Martinelli either side of you, mate? Like, that would have been a good front 3, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't complain with the players I played with because I played with some special players.
Absolutely.
For me, I think the signing of Jesus has made Martinelli and Saka
100.
better players because bless Lacazette last season, he could go one way, he could hold it up and he could do some of the work. But what he didn't have is the energy to then burst into the box and do all the bits that is needed. You see this guy, Jesus, he's incredible, right? Saka gets double teamed a lot. but it doesn't get triple teamed. Remember, we saw the footage of when Man City picked the ball up against Man City last season. There were like 4, 5, 6 players coming towards him because they didn't respect everybody else. Now you got to pick your poison. They said to themselves, we're not going to let Jesus beat us. But what happens? That then opens Martinelli and Xhaka. Ødegaard's pass for Martinelli's goal was inch perfect because he ran onto it and could hit it first time. That in itself is special. These three, they're so young. The two guys on the wing, Martinelli and Xhaka, look, they're so young. Hopefully, they should be ripping it up for Arsenal for the next 10 years. Realistically, that's what you say to yourself. Jesus, as centre forward, should be ripping up for Arsenal for the next 6, 7 years. As long as we got the supporting cast for these guys are only going to get better, Dan. I'm telling you. And you mentioned there's a Haaland here or there's this one there. There's good players, but as a front three, Arsenal are the best. You know why? Because we're top of the league.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
We're the top because we're top of the league.
I'll tell you what, another good thing I noticed. I don't like, team spirit, I think, is massive. And I've always been a big thing of that. And if you notice when Arsenal score, all the substitutes are jumping up off the seats and all that. Like, you got El Neni and Smith Rowe sitting just behind the dugout for the games. Some teams don't even some players don't even bother going to games, you know what I mean, and whatever, like. But they're all in it together. There seems to be a real good chemistry with everybody there, like, And one thing I was just thinking, you made a great little thing that's just got me buzzing about. Of all the Emirates players, what players would get into the team now, like, do you know what I mean, from that side? And I think, like, if we had Cesc Fabregas and his Pomp playing now for us,
incredible,
that,
yeah.
Like, imagine him feeding these players that are in and around him, like, you know what I mean? I think we might. We even with Haaland, I think we could give him a good game, like, But and I do think with his team spirit, it's something that I've seen through years of Arsenal. I honestly think that Liverpool, as good as they've been, I don't think that Sane and Salah really got on tremendously well, you know what I mean? Like, you get that little feeling, like, but there seems to be a real togetherness with all of them players. I know it sounds silly, but I like all those sort of things. When they're in the huddle, like, you know what I mean? They're clipping each other's heads and things like that. There's a real band of brothers sort of thing with them, like, And I think it's fine margins, isn't it, Kev? You know what I mean, at the top. But that's another little thing.
Team. Everything's team.
Someone
Did
said,
you see the Zinchenko video? Video? It just underlines what you're saying, Lee. Like him celebrating the penalty, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Well, listen, I'll tell you, the greatest thing with Zinchenko, and I think this is another thing where it is with the fans. I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter and all that, but as you come out of the Emirates, the cars go down the road and they get stuck at the lights by the Tollington light, And the Tollington started singing the Zinchenko song, and she undone her sunroof and was getting there singing it and all that. Like, when have you seen that from? Like, that's his wife. You know what I mean? Like, that is incredible what is going on and all that. Like,
what was even more amazing is she had nothing on. It was unbelievably good.
Well, do you know what I mean? I don't know about that. You must have had a few beers. Like, yeah. Anyway, you were sitting down going, "Why is Tierney not playing?" Like,
I was. I'd had too many drinks to drown my sorrows from that, mate. Do you know what I mean?
But no, it's like it's just a great thing about going to Arsenal. Do you know what? This World Cup's going to get in my nerves. This is because it's stopping me. We've got 3 home games left at home now. 2 of them are bleeding Europa League games, which are not as they're great,
it's not as prestigious. Yeah,
nah, it's not as good as that. I can't wait to get back over again. It's you know what I mean. And there were times, guys, I'm going to be really honest, and I don't mean to be ungrateful or anything like that, but I thought, the Arsenal players, it's a chore going over there, like, do you know what I mean? Like, but now,
it weren't long ago either. No,
I can't wait to get over there, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was all the time. I've got to tell a little story. I'm sitting on the train station, and trains are not normally late, are they? You know what I mean? Bus might be late or a cab might be late, but trains are normally on time, aren't they? I'm sitting here, 5-10 minutes, and where's this train? It's not late, and I've looked at the thing, and it's got bus is running. So I'm sitting on the station for 10 minutes, and there's no trains, is there? It's all like on a bus thing.
Bus
So I've had to
replacement.
bus replacement. So I've had to get it back in the car, drive all the way down to Chelsea. I was well late when I like sweating like good, but who cares? You know what I mean? I couldn't wait to get there. Like, do you know what I mean? So, but like, you know, that's me being dumb. Like, you know, you should look at me apps a little bit better.
Listen, it's great place to be at the moment. KC, couple of questions I want to ask you. One of them is super chat. Let's give you this one. I've got a real strong opinion on this, but I want to ask you on this one. So thanks you, super chat, Abel. It says Gabriel is too accident prone. He's going to cost Arsenal points. Next time Juventus show an interest in buying him, Arsenal should sell. I totally disagree with that personally, Kev, and I'll tell you why. I think although people say he has the bozo gene, although people say that he has mistakes in him, I think he more than makes up for it with the rest of his game, because I think it's near to flawless. He has a bit of a mistake in him. I get that. Where I will find it frustrating is if he continues to make the same mistakes, because that's why I hated on Xhaka and Mustafi and Luiz and all this. I don't think he's there. I don't think these mistakes are him. I think it's him being young. I think he's growing into the game still. I don't see it as, oh, what a clumsy idiot or stuff like that. I see him as misjudging something. It will come. If he starts ironing them out, I'm going to have time for him. If he keeps making the same mistakes, I can understand that comment there and people getting frustrated. But for me, I really like Gabriel, man. I can't lie. And I think you need him alongside Saliba. You need them both. You can't have them both like Saliba because it wouldn't be balanced. So for me, I like Gabriel, man. What's your thoughts, Kev?
You need one aggressive centre half. You need an aggressive centre half who's going to go in against sometimes the best players, be physical, make contact, and someone who the opposition are looking out for. Now, let's be honest. People talk about all these mistakes Gabriel makes. He gave away a penalty last week because, no disrespect, Granit Xhaka made a mistake.
Yeah.
And he's trying to he's not going to let Richarlison go and shoot and not make a challenge. So he tries to make a challenge, and sometimes things go up, but he's got to be the aggressive one because Saliba is more the clean-up guy. Fine. For me, these two have the perfect temperament to play as a two. Because Saliba is calm, he's cool, he's collected. But where's the aggression? We need that. We need Gabriel. Gabriel scored 6 goals last season. You know, most of any centre-back. I don't hear people complaining about that, do they? They don't complain about that. We're top of the league and people are still complaining. Get over it, guys. Goals will go in against us. And they're not all Gabriel's fault. Second goal for Liverpool, Saliba tries to read it and gets caught. Don't know if you saw that. He sees the run of Firmino and he moves inside, and then all of a sudden it gets put in behind him there. No, there's no way Gabriel can make it from the other side. So again, that's something that we have to do. Saliba, if he just waits there, let them pass the ball and we can get in there, that's fine. But hey, these are small things. These guys are playing together. There's only 9 games they're playing together.
It's Beauty and the Beast.
These guys will be fine. I'm telling you, they're only going to get better, guys. I wouldn't swap him for love nor money because you know what? Left-footed centre-halves who are aggressive, who get the club, where do you get them now? Where do you get them? They're hard to find.
Yeah,
man.
They really are beauty. They're beauty. It's Beauty and the Beast. Saliba is the beauty, and Gabriel is the beast.
Yeah, and you need that.
You have to have that. It's like Vidic and Ferdinand, Lee.
Yeah, exactly that. You don't make a good film without a baddie. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how it's got to be. You know.
There we go, mate.
Who's the
Oh,
beauty
Unless I'm
and the
making a
beast out of
beauty.
you two? Eh? Who's the beauty and the beast out of
Well,
you
I
two
mean,
then, eh?
he's
Wow,
always been
yeah.
the beast, isn't he? You know what I'm saying? But it's one of
Rawr.
oh, brilliant.
Oh God,
Listen,
we're getting
so
little sound bites and kissing
So-
bums. I don't know what's happening on the show
Ah.
tonight.
I know I told you
Listen,
it's
I tell
nearly
you
coming
what,
to 10
David
o'clock.
O'Leary he was a bit of a gracious defender, wasn't he, Kev? But he always had someone a bit like tougher around, like
Yeah.
around side him, like you know
Martin
what I mean?
Keown is a great example, you know. Gabriel,
Yeah,
Martin Keown, that's very similar because he used to make those mistakes, didn't he, Keown? You know, he used to
yeah.
give penalties away and red cards and stuff, but he made up with it with his defending. But one player that has really, really improved so far, I'll give this one to you because I know you're a secret fan, even though you don't like to say it to me too much. Let's have a discussion. Thanks for your super chat. Sophie, hello, my favourites. Thank you very much. Thoughts on Xhaka's role yesterday? Was his movement that kept the Pool's defenders busy and created spaces for Martinelli? Another fantastic game from Granit Xhaka. And if I'm honest with you, Soph, Party as well for me. I thought second half particularly, Party was outstanding. So yeah, these two deserve credit as well, Sophie, don't they?
Massive. They've become a very important duo in our team. They complement each other. I've heard a lot that the only reason Xhaka can play the way he does is because of Partey. I would argue that he's playing the way he is because Arteta's put him in a different position, playing that box to box. And yes, of course, Partey having him gives him, the ability to do that. But I also think there's times where Xhaka has, been there for Thomas Partey when he hasn't been having a good game. I thought Partey was weak in the first half. He was giving the ball away. He
Sloppy,
was
yeah.
really sloppy and careless. And I think that stifled Xhaka a little bit in that first half. But credit where it's due, right? So there are a lot of people who've been anti-Xhaka. There have been a lot of people who've loved Xhaka. There are a lot of people who kind of in the middle of the road about him. Similarly to Mikel Arteta, I've been very critical of Mikel Arteta before. You finish eighth and you lose to the man you replace in a European semi-final. I sound like a broken record. You start the following season, 3, games 0-0-0. You're going to come under fire and some criticism. And similarly, Xhaka getting sent off against City. You go back to the Emery end of season. Was it the Crystal Palace or Burnley game, Kev? Maybe both. And there were just mistakes everywhere. But again, like certain players where we're seeing improvements, when you put players around them that are better, they improve too. This is a player who was one of he was in the team of the tournament for the Euros. We've seen him in that role for Switzerland. And the criticism, the credit has to be as loud as the criticism. And, I'm learning that a lot in the last year here, that as football fans, we say what we see. We're very much in the moment. And in this moment, he is one of the most important players for this team. And I don't think you could deny that. Same thing. I can't deny that Mikel Arteta is doing a great job. He is doing a great job. He has taken this team and he's evolved them not only on the pitch, but also mentally. The Cronkies, let the credit be as loud as the criticism. Everyone was, Cronky out, the protest. Look what the Cronkies have done. They've stood by the manager. They didn't sack him. They gave him full support. They gave Adu. So there's this trickle-down effect happening at Arsenal that is affecting the club in different ways. And it from the ownership to Adu to the manager and to what we're seeing on the pitch. And that is the strength and depth of Arsenal right now. It's all working at different levels. And in order for it to work on the pitch, all the other levels have to be in a harmonious, synchronized way. And that's why we were talking to Kaya from Football London earlier. You're seeing London Colney be a happy place. You're seeing Martinelli talk about family. You're seeing all of this stuff, Dan. Xhaka has a lot to do with how this team, these players come together in the dressing room, how they are as a collective. And whether people like it or not, he's always been a leader. And 3 managers plus an interim manager have thought the same about him. So credit to him right now, because I think that the way he's shown, we wanted Aubameyang to show us that he loved Arsenal by his actions on the pitch. Xhaka doesn't do a lot of talking. Maybe you didn't get the apology you wanted, but I think he's shown it to you on the pitch.
Well, certainly this season for me, and to be fair, last season I thought he was good actually, Granit Xhaka. Under Mikel Arteta, I think he's been decent. This season he ain't been decent. He's been outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And, our judges is sitting there as if he's his favourite player now, or all of a sudden because he sat next to him
Well,
twice.
I
Oh, mate,
What's happening here?
I had a word with him, and I told you that, Granit, this is what you got to do, and he's gone and done it. But I'll tell you what's so great about Granit Xhaka, and what I love about him, forget about all his playing, all that, is he don't let no one take liberties. So
Yeah.
players, clubs, teams have come at the Emirates and took liberties with our players at times, kicked them about and whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know what happened with that Gabriel thing yesterday, whether it come out or not, but he's straight into that old Henderson, and I'll tell you what, old Henderson shied away after that, you know why? Because I'll tell you what, Granit's a machine, and I like that. No one is going to come and take the mickey out of us no more and bully us, and I think that he has to take a lot of credit for that, So,
that's fair. No, that is fair. I think a lot of people can't get over what happened a few years ago. We kind of have to now. Do you know what I mean? We just have to let it go. We've got to forget about what happened with the old Arsenal. It's very difficult for me. I'm going to be honest to get over that. But we've got to, haven't we? We've got to move forward. He's been class, and he's got to try and do what he's doing on the pitch. Fans have got to try and get over it. And if he's doing what he's doing on the pitch, then of course people are going to get over it very, very.
And it's
quickly.
it's like a bad relationship, right? It's like a bad. You kind of want to break up, but there are signs there that you think, I don't know, man. I think I should give him another chance. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And you're at that point now where maybe we give Xhaka that chance because there's maybe still some love there. Who knows?
Well, who knows?
Singing his name again, don't they? Was they, Dan? Singing his name.
They're singing his name in a song. I mean, that says enough to me that everyone's got forgiven him and he's back on side. And listen, I will get over it. I'm sure. I found it very hard that day, and maybe I need a little bit more time. But at the moment, I'm enjoying watching Granit Xhaka play. I can't lie. KC, let me give this one to you, man, because I think this is a good way to come to a close. Chaitanya, big up yourself, man. Thanks so much yet again for another super chat. It says, can't stress how important it is that we stay top by the World Cup break and come to January to get top players. Top players would want to join Arsenal. We can then negotiate smartly. Come on, you Gunners. I don't want to dream too much, go over the top and be carrying myself away, Casey. However, I think there's a good points made there. I think it's important we have a good run up to the World Cup now. And I do think it's going to be important that January comes around soon, because as much as you love the way we're playing and the first 11, our bench is poor, mate. Right? It is poor. There's about 3 on there that I think, cool. The others, I'm like, let's hope no one gets injured, because I don't want these players coming on. So that needs to be addressed for me, not just the summer of the window, but also the January one. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the confidence of what this team can do now that we're sitting at the top of the table, mate. It's lovely to say.
Do you know what, Dan? For me, you've always got to strengthen from a position of strength. And if you're serious about going toe to toe with the Man Cities and let's be honest, Liverpool and all that kind of thing, because strength in depth they've got, we have to strengthen in January, because you know what that will do? That will raise the level again. You bring another quality player in, if you can get him, all of a sudden, everyone in training steps up. You saw the levels go up where Zinchenko and Jesus came in, Saliba's there. All of a sudden, look where Arsenal's level are. You bring another one in, there's no drop-off. You can rest Thomas, because there's hopefully so many games to go in both the league and the cups. You're going to have to rotate the team. You're going to have to rotate the squad, and you've got to get everybody up to speed. For me, you mentioned Tierney earlier on about, is he third choice? He's not third choice. He's another player who, depending on who the opposition is, Tierney can come in. Tommy Arsenal can play left or right or centre-back. Zinchenko could play left-back, centre-mid. We've got to be flexible enough, because we don't know what injuries might come down. The key is, we went all in to try and get Douglas Luiz in centre midfield at the end of the last window. I still think we need another centre midfielder. I think we do. And I think we still need another forward. Someone who can probably play through the middle or wide, whichever. We will never be weak again. That's what the mentality has to be. We will never be weak again. We've always got to be thinking, add a piece, add quality. And if we do that, Dan, with the way the dressing room is, the way the mentality is, players now seeing Arsenal at the top will want to come in, will want to be a part of this feeling. They've seen what the Emirates is like now. They've seen the fan base. They see Mikel Arteta and the team doing so well. Who doesn't want to be part of success? Tell you, a successful squad. Everyone wants to be part of a successful team. And now you see us take down Liverpool, and we're not going overboard. We're just saying we're proud of the team, that we're back at the top, because the gauntlet was thrown down. Manchester City went out and got top. We have to keep responding, and we have to respond in the transfer window in January.
100%, man, 100%. And so before I come to you, sorry, Max, apparently I missed this super chat. It says, big up Highbury squad. I was so proud of the boys against Liverpool. It was a cracking game to watch. But at times I felt like I wouldn't have any nails or hair left. Personally, I think we have to be taken seriously now. Bring on Man City and let's have it. Come on, you Gunners. So for your thoughts on this season, the squad, is it sustainable? Can we do the unthinkable? Talk to me. What you're thinking, Soph?
I'm really bummed that the Man City game is postponed.
Yeah,
I want to play them now.
Yeah.
That's what I want, because when is that fixture going to be rescheduled? We don't know. And I would love to play them at this moment. The two best teams in the country. How will Saliba handle Haaland? How will that backline handle that front three? Our midfield battle. It's a fascinating game, and I'm really bummed that we're not playing them right now, because who knows what's going to happen after the World Cup. I just think I always wanted us to go from competing in the Premier League to being consistent in the Premier League to getting into that top four and then challenging, right? And so we've seen the progression from last season to this. Now, it didn't end well last season, but you learn a lot from losing out. And I think this team has even learned a lot from losing at Old Trafford. That's the game I can't wash out of my mouth still. Because we played so well, but we lost. Why? We weren't clinical, made mistakes. I think we've been stronger since then, Dan. So I think this team is showing that they can overcome adversity, and that has to continue for the season. Can we do it for the duration of a season? Time will tell us that. And the proof will be in the May or June pudding whenever the season ends. But I'm just happy seeing us compete. Whether we go on to win the big one, it might not be our year, but if we can carry this on, trophies will come. But like Kev said, you've got to keep building on the squad and not sell your best players. Let's see if we've really turned the corner and we've become Arsenal 2.0 versus the old Arsenal.
Love that. Absolutely love that, man. Judges, listen, we've got Forest, Leeds, Southampton, Wolves, Chelsea, I believe. Then it's a World Cup. We've also got Brighton in the League Cup, and we've got a Europa League games. If I'm picking all my fixtures, I know none of them are easy, but I'm not really at the moment looking at that thinking, cool, I can't see many points here coming up to that World Cup. So it's there for us if we want it. Now, Chelsea are a good side, in my opinion, and I think Potter already is showing glimpses of what he can do. Wolves can't score for toffee. Leeds, you know what you're going to get, but I fancy your chances. Southampton at the moment are struggling, and Forest, I'm really surprised by Forest. I had them as a surprise package, and they've drew tonight. They can't get much right at the moment. So I'm not looking at these fixtures at the moment going, ouch. But is that a silly thing to do, judges?
No, yes and no, not really, because let's get it right. I backed Arsenal to get 6 points in their last two games. I backed us to beat Liverpool. I backed us to beat Tottenham. That's not me being silly. It's because I've seen what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what I'm seeing on the pitch is a very, very good, competent side. Knows exactly what he's doing. The two things that I'm looking forward to when we play Leeds. Let's bring it on, because if we control the game like we have done, he's very, very good. And I also got to say this, which people haven't really said, is that when we scored that goal yesterday to make it 3-2, we managed that game really, really well after that. What did Liverpool do after that? We see it out. So we're capable of doing it. Listen, if Arsenal, lose focus or don't turn up, they get beat by Leeds, Southampton, whoever. we're not that good where we can just go, oh, we're going to turn up and win the game. And I think that's being instilled into them. They've got to work hard. They've got to do. These boys are hungry. They're hungry for success. You know, Southampton's going to be a big game, Dan, because we didn't get nothing from that last season.
Yep.
If we win there,
Agreed.
that's another 3 points better off than what we were last season. You know, we've already got better by beating Liverpool. You know, we've got better by beating Crystal Palace. Got more points if we go, you know, when we've got Brentford. So that's another big game for us. I hate it there and all. I don't really like going there. Like it's a funny old place. So let's get a result there. Let's beat Leeds because that's going to be tough. But listen, you know, every game's tough. You know, and then when if we actually do win those games. Do you imagine the confidence going into that game against Chelsea? You know, and give it a bloody good go and see what happens. I ain't scared of no one. I'm with Sophie on this one. I wanted us to play Man City in the next couple of weeks because one, I fancied us to do something because we did fantastically well in last season at home. We're at home, and it would have been a great little fit. Do you imagine if we did play them and beat them? What confidence that took us on to play Chelsea away and go into the World Cup, like, you know. I think what's very, very important, and listen, and let's be honest, at the beginning of the season, every Arsenal fan would have said, it's important, come the World Cup, we're in the top 4. Now we're all saying it's important that we stay on the top. You know what I mean? It's fantastic, you know what I mean? Let's just take it one game at a time. As you quite rightly say, Leeds won't be easy, but I'm looking forward to it, you know, because this team is the real deal. That, in my opinion, I'm watching a different Arsenal to I've seen for a very, very long while. I noticed it when pre-season. I've noticed it in games. I know Sophie goes on about the Man United game, but we played really well that day. If we play like that most games, we'll win more than we lose, and that's how I'm taking it.
I've got to let that go. I've got to let it go.
Well,
I can't.
I get that, Soph, because I look at United and I think, what? We lost to that. Come on. But we did. We got to move on. Last questions to you both. KC, start with you. We've got some big games coming up, man. I know I've just said that I fancy ourselves, but they are big because they're leading up to a World Cup. And more importantly, there's a lot of them in a short space of time. Now, injuries aside and resting players aside, do you think this current crop of players has what it takes to keep us towards the top or second of the league come that World Cup, mate?
Yeah, I do. On the hybrid squad, Sophie asked the question. We tend to do the next 5 games. How many points do you expect? I expect 15 points. I've got to be honest. The challenges we've just had of you got Spurs and you got Liverpool back to back. You've got to respond. And I know they're at home. We came through them with flying colours. The confidence in the team is going to be big. But you know what? We're actually better away from home. If you look at us, we're better away from home. Why? Because the opposition have to come onto us. They have to attack. They have to really go for us. And then when that happens, we play through them and we kill them. So, again, is there going to be difficult moments? Of course there is. But you know what? This team, I believe, can respond. I expect us to get 15 points out of the next 5 games. Can it go pear-shaped? Of course it can, but I don't expect it because now we're seeing a different Arsenal, as Lee said, as Sophie says, as you say, Dan. This is a different Arsenal. It's not the same Arsenal as last season. We're a lot better, mentally and physically. So I expect us to be there.
Fair play to you, man. So Kev makes a great point. 3 clean sheets in 4 away from home as well. Not kept a clean sheet at home at the Emirates, albeit we've won all of them. Not kept a clean sheet. That must fill us with confidence that we have a little bit of control over most of our games now. And with teams like Leeds and Southampton, yeah, they're going to be fighting for it. Forest are fighting for their lives already. They don't want to be anywhere near that relegation zone, whether you're 2 games in or 22 games in or 32 games in. So we're going to get some tough opponents. But there is a different feel about this, and there's a confidence at the moment within the whole squad that we can keep this run going. So what's your thoughts, mate?
All 3 of those teams leak goals. And what do we like to do? Score goals. And I think it's going to be tough for them. But these are the games we cannot lose. Can't go this far. This is where the process has gone to progress now. So in order to keep progressing, you beat these teams, because losing to these kinds of teams last season cost us top 4. And if we're going to be in this fight and we may lose points to a City or a United, or a Chelsea, these are the matches where we make up those points. And so for me, I would love to see us like dominate and send another clear statement and message to the rest of the league and to everyone. That Arsenal really are moving forward and making that progress just game after game after game. So I just think it's unacceptable for us to lose those games now, considering the position that we're in. May lose points. No one expects us to beat City at the Etihad. No one expects us to beat City, period. Right? But these are the matches that count, and they're going to make the difference at the end of the season.
Also, in those
You're
5
talking
games
facts.
coming up, Dan, Tottenham and Liverpool have got to play each other. Man United and Spurs have got to play each other. So there's
City have to go to Liverpool next
yeah,
week.
City have to go to Liverpool next week. So this is a big 5 games, not just for that, but all the other teams in and around us are playing each other. Get more points on the board. All of a sudden, 4 points in front of your rivals is 7 or 8, and that's a big thing. So these next few games are massive, and Sophie's right, can't afford to lose them. Need to, beat Leeds, beat Southampton, beat Nottingham Forest. Now these are the 5 games, like Chelsea game, not so much, but 4 of those 5 games, I would expect Arsenal to go there and win. I said at the beginning of the season when we looked at the first 5 fixtures, I said we'd win them all. Because that's what we should do. I expect us to win. I expect us now to stay unbeaten until the World Cup.
There we go. I think we're all upbeat. I think we're all confident. And when I'm upbeat, as Marsgana says, I mean, Arsenal must be playing well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. It's no other way about it, is there? Do you know what I mean? I'm definitely upbeat when it comes to it. Listen, I think it's been a great show, man. And absolutely, it's always great with you two, but it's even better when we're
it's always good. Always good chemistry.
Always good banter and always
enjoying
good
the
fun
chat
with you
tonight.
guys.
The chat, there's some great stuff coming from the chat box
lovely,
tonight. Really good stuff.
It's been electric. It's been electric. Great comments, great super chats. Thank you all so much. Please do us a favor, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you do want to join the membership, you can do alongside the subscribe button, and make sure you go and like and subscribe to Kevin Sophie's channel tonight on the Highbury Squad, who did a show before this, which was superb. Who did you have on, Soph? Sorry, you had a guest on tonight.
We had Kaya from Football London. He was great, wasn't he, Kev? Really good stuff from Kaya.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Really
a good watch. Always a good watch on the Highbury Squad. Make sure you go and do exactly the same over there, people. Absolute pleasure. Thanks to everyone on the chat. Kev, legend. Soph, legend. Lee, always a pleasure. Smash a like on the way out, people. And, of course, up the Arsenal.